Okay, very good.
All right.
Welcome, everybody. Those of you I don't know, and I haven't really had the pleasure of meeting most of you, my name's Kevin Hunt. I am the president of the Broward chapter of the Landscape Inspectors Association. I'm the vice president of the state board of the Landscape Inspectors Association, and I am the general manager at Nonix Landscaping, which is a commercial landscape maintenance company. I know a lot of you are also, I think, in the commercial service world in some facet or another. I don't know if there's a lot of like municipal folk or people who work for cities as well online here, but we have a very diverse group, and I think that's one of the things that makes this organization really cool. I'm certainly very passionate about it, and one of the things that I think differentiates us from a lot of other things is that we developed this program that you have all applied for to train and certify people as certified landscape inspectors, and that you have some degree of expertise that sets you apart from some other people. So we'll get started here with let me see here. We have just, stand by 1 second. Okay. Give me 1 moment, please. Oh, there we go. Are you all seeing that the page changed? Or no? Probably not. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you.
I think what I'm going to have to do is bail out of this large screen. And
yeah, I can hear you too.
Great. Okay.
I can hear you.
I'm going to close everything else. Forgive me, I've got too many other windows open, and I'm going to just close everything down. Make life easy here. What in the world?
How many do we have on?
You know, when you've got Outlook open and your Word and this and that and the other thing and web browsers. Okay, thank you for your patience. I apologize. So I'm going to try to do this screen share again. And Henry, where is it? I've actually tried this. Henry, hey, Mike.
Hey, how you doing, Kevin?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good.
Did you get a haircut? You look very handsome.
My daughter did it.
Oh.
Yeah, I got my money's worth.
All right. You got the Rona haircut. Oh, we got a full house. I love it. All right. So let me see if this works here. And I'm sharing my screen now. So theoretically, you all should be able to see that. But it won't let me. Okay. Forgive me, everybody. We thought we had gotten this squared away.
When you click share screen, you should see several different options come up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. So you all can see this right now, correct? This, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me see. I'm going to press play because, see, it keeps kicking me to this other thing. All right, so we're going to have to do it a little old schooly this way. I hate to do it. I'm sorry, but that's okay. Everyone can see this, correct?
Yes.
The Your Mission You Should Accept It slide?
No.
Damn it.
Go back to what you did before, Kevin, and just go with it.
I'm just trying to make this thing. Okay. Here we go. So everyone sees this, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. Yay, technology.
Every facet of life.
It's like a challenge. Okay, so every facet of life in Florida, of course, depends directly or indirectly on our natural environment. Florida's success is driven by tourism, agriculture, and other industries that attract people here. The landscape inspectors are involved in improving the quality of the landscape we live in. They're supporting individuals, businesses, and the public who rely on our services. The Landscape Inspectors Association of Florida sets standards for our professional members and provides education to the industry and the public. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to go to the next slide. Setting yourself apart. So what we want to do, congratulations, you've made this great investment in your professional career, and this The rewards of certification include increased credibility, recognition, and the potential for higher earnings. Pride is the distinction as certified landscape inspector is merited. The examination you are preparing for is not easy, though. It's designed to evaluate the applicant's knowledge and training in really 4 domains. It was 5, we've made it 4, and we've not corrected this slide. But number 1, which we're going to be going over today, is the plant identification, which includes 30+ species of plants found in the local area. Part 2 is general knowledge, which covers the basic principles of things like plant characteristics, plant biology, soil analysis, plant nutrition and fertilizer, insects and disease, irrigation, planting and design, tree pruning, the Florida friendly landscape principles, not listed here, but that's a part of it. All of those general knowledge things, which again, as professionals in the industry, these are things that you've probably seen or deal with on a daily basis. Landscape plan review, which is something I think everybody also needs to be doing. And we kind of folded everything into these 2. 4 and 5 are really one thing now, which is a review of Florida grades and standards. This is, without question, the trickiest part of this exam. We revamped it recently so that there's real field assessment going on. It's the one area where, because it's kind of a subjective thing when you're evaluating trees, or it's potentially subjective, we wanted to make sure that we have a consistent standard. This is something that Dr. Mike Orphanides, who's on this call, can speak to a lot of. He will be heading up that review session. It's a really, really interesting thing. I think I sent you all a copy of Grades and Standards when we got your application. I strongly recommend that you read the definitions. You don't need to memorize the matrices, but read the definitions, know the definitions of things. Those parts of that exam, the parts of that are very much on this exam. So that is just the basics of the test. So plant identification review is, some people think this one's a hard one, but we are going to be testing for the plant names, both common and scientific, and writing it correctly. Spelling counts. Not always the easiest thing. It says be able to recognize and identify 30 common landscape species. We're going to go over 30 plants and trees that are common to South Florida. We will ultimately test you on 25 of those in the field. We will walk around a site and we will point to a thing and say, what is that? And you will then in turn write it down on a piece of paper. So things to know about plant identification. Obviously, thousands of native and exotic plants thrive in South Florida. As a landscape inspector, a key component of being able to correctly identify plants as well as pathogens and pests that affect their ability to thrive. In that sense, plant ID is the first step. So it requires a scientific process to accurately recognize and describe and name a certain plant. Some people are better than others at plant identification, but we can all improve through repetition and improve understanding about plants and their names. And to that end, for the most part, again, as professionals and people who work in this industry, most of what you're going to see, I'm almost certain that you could tell me the common name of that plant. You may not know the scientific name, but you know the common name. And that is half the battle. After that, it's really just a matter of knowing, the scientific names, which is ultimately really not that hard. And you probably know more than you think you know anyway. So to that end, plant identification. What's in a name? So a bit about plant names. The LIAF exam requires the candidates not only correctly identify a plant, but also write and spell its common and scientific names correctly. Plants and all living things are named according to an international scientific system known as binomial nomenclature, literally a system of naming with 2 words. Common names may vary the world over, but scientific names are mainly the same no matter what country you're in. Plant names begin with a word for the genus and end with a word for the specific epithet, which describes the species. When writing scientific names of plants, the first letter of the genus is always capitalized. The first letter of the specific epithet is never capitalized. Both names are usually italicized or underlined. So as the example shows here, Bursera cimaruba or Bursera cimaruba. When it comes to this exam, excuse me, when it comes to this exam, when you are writing down the scientific name, the expectation will be that it is underlined and that the genus is capitalized and that the specific epithet is not. So just be conscious of that. In certain cases, plant names may also contain a word identifying a certain cultivar. In these cases, the correct method for writing the name can be, for example, Conocarpus erectus variety sericeus or Conocarpus erecta variety sericeus. I promise you this actually plant will be on the test. This will show up, that specific one. So in other cases, the cultivar might be, are indicated by enclosing the name with a demarcation and with single quotation marks, for example, Acer rubrum, single quote, autumn flame, and single quote. Another example of that might be Ficus microcarpa, a specific cultivar name, Green Island. Very common. And that will be on the test. As we go through, you'll see. So one of the ways to differentiate trees or identify trees is through their leaf shapes. This is a very common thing. And we can provide this, this chart if you want. Some things obviously are very common where they have leaf margins are entire and the leaf tips are acute or very elliptic in nature. Certain things, very few things I should say, have wild forms. So like when you come across a sea grape, for example, is that reniform? Is that orbicular? It's very, or is it oblique leaf tips? I mean, that would be a really defining feature of a plant. Another really identifiable tree leaf would be, say, Hong Kong orchid, where it's a bilobed leaf. Very few things in South Florida have that leaf structure other that I can think of. So when you have that, if you found that leaf, it would almost certainly be a Hong Kong orchid. Another ways to identify things is floral forms and inflorescences. Again, we can provide this slide to you if you want. I think that certainly flower shapes and some of the other unusual inflorescence can lead to identification. One of the more showy plants I think that we see out there in the world is Calicarpa americana, which is beautyberry. Very distinct purple berries, and it's a very beautiful, the distinctiveness is the berry. You wouldn't be able to tell what that was by the leaf, and if it wasn't necessarily blooming with its berries, you might not necessarily know what it was, or you wouldn't necessarily know what it was right away. But it's very distinctive. When you see that purple, you know exactly what that is. So let's look at what we're going to be seeing out there in the world. And again, I think I sent everybody the list of potential trees that we may see, trees and plants. I did this essentially in alphabetical order or in the order of what I sent you. This is not the order that we will be going over them when we're out in the field walking around. It will be random. And again, you will see about 25, not about, you will see 25 of these 30 plants. So to begin, we've got, and by the way, if anybody has any questions at any point, we could pause here for a second. You could unmute yourself, say something. I think everybody's, just kind of watching. Hi there, young lady. Yes.
So at the moment, we don't have the room for the test yet, right? Last we saw.
So we are right now. As far as I know, we don't. And Mike could speak to that because we do hold the event at the Hurricane House at the UF campus in Davie. I do not know. We expect that we will have it open to us by roughly early July. Mike, are you still with us? Do you know anything?
Should it not be available, would the test just be pushed back, especially because of the in-person, or would you move it online?
Great question. I think we might consider moving the test part online, but I still think we might want to meet out there if we could gain access. Meaning to say, if the campus is open, it's just but not but you're not supposed to enter the buildings. We could still walk around and distribute. What are they called?
We would still do the plant ID in person.
I think yes, because it's important to be out there and kind of see it in real life. There's not a good way to do that online when it comes to spelling and identifying something. At least I don't think there is. So my expectation is that if all else failed and we had to do a completely online exam, the one thing that we might need to do is meet out there to convene to do this plant ID.
Okay, great.
So,
Hey, Kevin, Susan had a quick question.
Sure.
Did you all send out these slides in advance or a link to them or anything?
No, I had not.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to share this slideshow with everybody again. Not a secret, not trying to make this tricky for anybody. Any information here is at your disposal, and I'd be happy to share it with you, assuming that it's not too big to send in an email.
All right, thank you.
And if it is too big to send in an email, I'll put it on a flash drive and I'll drop it in the mail to you, whoever you are, be it Susan or anybody. So yes, happy to help out on that front. All right, cool. Peter, did you have a question?
Yeah, do you follow the same, I took the FNGLA exam a couple of years ago. Do you guys follow that same kind of sequence as far as plant identification?
I have the slightest idea. I've never taken the FNGLA exam.
Okay, they do like a plant ID and they do the same thing at the Hurricane House where they walk around the property. I didn't.
Oh, yes, it's probably the exact same thing in that sense then. Yeah, we're going to walk around the property. You're going to see all the stuff you saw at your FNGLA exam, more than likely. So, and if you've done that, then, you should be well suited. You should have no problems with this.
I'm actually a certified judge for him too, so I know you're talking.
Awesome. Okay. Your money. All right. So let's get into it. We'll never see a red maple this red, I think, in South Florida. They might have a nice goldish color, but Acer rubrum, red maple, great, beautiful tree, especially I think in the north, but we don't see that many these days. Although I've been beginning to see a few more here and there and using in some wetland areas. But very, very pretty, very distinctive. Obviously, the leaf structure is very distinctive and mapley. We will see these as we walk around the UF campus. Not sure if it'll be on the test, but you'll see them. Our next one, my favorite plant spelling, anyways. Psychotria nervosa, delicious wild coffee. Great native plant, really distinctive berry, obviously, and the leaf venation is really, really deep. I think this is not only a great landscape plant, but it's a really distinctive plant, very easy to identify in the landscape. Bald cypress, also a pretty obvious one, unless it's wintertime and then you think it's dead and it's something else. This is, forgive the slightly blurry pictures, did the best I could with it, but Taxodium distichum, not sure how to pronounce that, but bald cypress, obviously very, very swampy plant, loves the swamp, great for wetlands, not so great for uplands.
There are one quick question.
Sure.
I know there are two genuses of the bald cypress.
Mm-hmm.
Are we both taxodiums? And they have very small differences? Are we gonna have? Mm-hmm.
We're not looking to trick you. So what I would expect is that if we're looking at the bald cypress at the UF campus, it is this one.
Distichum. Okay, perfect.
And obviously the state tree, the sable palmetto, super common. A little bit under duress right now with the lethal bronzing. I hate to say it, but I think I'm seeing more and more of it here and there. And I don't know what we're going to do about that. It is not fun. But sable palmetto, sable palm. This one is, you know, if scientific name is a concern, this would be one where it's an easy one to remember. And Coccoloba uvifera, sea grape. Again, big, distinctive, thick leaf. Obviously, they've got their grapes are, whoops, very obvious. It's very distinctive tree, dune tree, but I've seen them, you know, they plant them inland as well. But sea grape, obviously an easy one. Oh, well, I shouldn't say obviously, I'm sorry. I think we would all recognize it as a sea grape. Coccoloba uvifera does not just roll off the tongue. That's a toughie, potentially. One we should all, though, I think know is Quercus virginiana, and that's a live oak. Plenty of these all over the place. Very, very commonly used. You're going to see it on virtually every landscape plan you'll ever read, I would think. Quercus virginiana.
Question.
Yes.
I apologize in advance if you already answered it. I got disconnected.
Oh.
Out of the 30, how many are you allowed to misspell or miss completely?
So you need to do about 70, you need to have 75% passing. So it's a 50, essentially a 50 question test, 25 common name, 25 scientific name. And by that math, you need to get all 25 common names right and 13 of the scientific names correct.
Okay.
And that would get you at just over 75%.
Okay. Thank you.
And it's not, again, Al, it's not tricky. You know, we want to help you guys get through this. So whatever tools I can help provide, be it this, if you were cut off, Susan had asked if we could send out this slide deck, and I'd be happy to do that. I think this was a tool we actually thought we were going to get rained out one time, and we put together in case we had to do it inside the hurricane house. And thankfully that didn't happen, and just so happens it's going to work out really well when we are having sort of, you know, when we're doing our online training sessions. So this is a great native plant. Love Hamelia patens, firebush, super, super hardy, very, very showy flower, very distinctive plant, especially when they're blooming. Excellent, excellent plant.
If I can interject real quick too,
You may.
I can share or either send you or share here. The FNGLA actually has a resource for plant study guide, and it actually has audio so that it can help you enunciate the actual botanical names as well.
Well, that is a fantastic idea. Would you do me the favor of sending that information to me, and I can disseminate to everybody else?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Do you have my email?
I do.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. I think that would be greatly appreciated by everybody. This one, not so common. You don't see it get used very much, but it's really a great tree. Caesalpinia granadillo, bridal veil tree. Really distinctive mottled bark, and it's got, oh my goodness. This leaf structure is called something.
Looks pinnately compound.
Thank you, Mike. What?
Pinnately compound?
Thank you. Pinnately compound. I could not get that out of my mouth. So, but again, very distinctive look. You can't miss it. Bridal veil trees, great tree. Kind of underused again, in my opinion. There's a lot at the UF campus though that look great. I strongly recommend this as a landscape tree.
Hard to find good ones.
Well, can we dig them up from? No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. Something that is in a little bit of distress, Pinus eliatii /pine. Not the greatest to picture it. Again, I apologize, but obviously very distinctive tree. Everybody, I would think, knows what a pine tree looks like, and Florida /pine is very distinctive looking. I heard today that there's a big push in Palm Beach County that they're underplanted, or they've lost more than a certain threshold, and they're requiring them to be planted on all new projects. I don't know if that's true or not, but I thought it was interesting that the county had sort of instituted this issue. Anybody else heard that? Is that a real thing, or was some dude making it up?
For the record, the spelling on the slide is incorrect and the one on your sheet is correct.
Oh, did I mistype this? Is it 1T? Oh, no, it's this. O is wrong.
E-L-L-I.
Yeah,
Oh.
sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, extra O. Sorry. Thank you for catching that. All right, very good. I pronounced it correctly in my defense, for whatever that's worth. All right, next up, Lagerstromia indica, crepe myrtle. Lots and lots of these. We're not going to get tricky and be like, is this a Natchez? Is it this one or that one? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to point to a crepe myrtle of some variety and say, what is that? So don't freak out. That's not going to happen, in case you're wondering. Lots of crepe myrtles, very common in use. Another reasonably common one, Bolnesia arborea, or just Bolnesia. Very distinctive yellow flowers, kind of spreading. They can get kind of tall, though. I see that sometimes they try to use these as understory trees, and I've seen them get real big. In fact, the one outside the Hurricane House has gotten quite tall. So I don't know that it really is an understory tree. I suppose it depends on how you prune it, but obviously, again, very distinctive, pinnately compound leaves, and very, very pretty tree. Not great rooters though, in the sense of a storm. This one's blowing up all over the place these days. Delonix regia, or the Royal Poinciana. I'm seeing these are really, really showy right now. I feel like it's kind of late in the season for them to be doing this, but I wonder if that's just because we had such a dry spring. I don't know. Or maybe I'm crazy, but this is just my thoughts. Wonderful, really, really beautiful tree when they are healthy. Sorry, went too fast. Another coca loba, the coca loba diversifolia, or pigeon plum. Great, I think this is a great understory tree. Again, kind of the mottled bark look, very distinctive look. When they're, I think they root a little better than some other things, and very sturdy. I feel like these are great island trees. Great four-finger islands, unlike mahoganies or live oaks or something that get 60 feet tall in a 3-foot wide finger island. That's just bad planting. Tababuia heterophylla, or pink tab. Again, not the greatest placement on this one picture on the right, where it's in a parking lot square that's not terribly big, but very showy, very distinctive. I think we all know pink tabs very well. Structurally, they're pretty decent. They can keep them structurally very nice. A little hard to come by right now from what I'm told, but very pretty flower pretty much year round, sometimes a little heavier than others, but again, I'm sure you all know that. Swietenia mahogany, or the mahogany tree. And did I spell this right? Oh, now I got a question. Al?
Yeah, that's wrong. It's M-A-H-O.
I thought. All right. Thank you again. So again, very distinctive tree, a very common tree. Unfortunately, it's a tree that structurally they've gotten a bad rap because they were allowed to grow just kind of wild, and their codominance has led to many problems with failure when we've had hurricanes. The nuts on them tend to fall off when people park their cars underneath them, so they've become a bit of a nuisance. I think they're delightful trees. They're just unfortunately not used correctly, in my opinion. Again, just my opinion.
Kevin,
Yes, sir.
do you want us to go by the spelling you have on the slides, not on what you have on your
No,
sheet?
no, no. I want you to go by what's on the sheet. What I sent you on the sheet is right.
Okay.
And there, as Al has astutely pointed out, there's been a couple of spelling errors in what I have provided on this slideshow. I think what's most important is that we're looking at the pictures and identifying the scientific name, which may, again, hopefully that's not incorrect, but Al has already noticed that there's been 2 misspellings. I'm pretty sure Cordia sebastena is spelled correctly. However, go by what's on the sheet I sent you guys. And if you didn't get a copy of that,
Just to let you know, you have Mahagania, Mahagoni, on your sheet that you provided.
What did I spell? How is it on the sheet?
Maha as in apple, Go as in octopus, and I.
Okay. That may be incorrect as well. Oh, hey, Jared, how are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Well, let's double check that one.
Okay.
I'm sure somebody could Google that real quick and we can. Mahogani.
And yeah, and you have it on your sheet as Maha as in apple, Go as in octopus, and I.
Possible that we did write that down incorrectly. Are you Googling?
Yeah, I'm Googling right now.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
The spelling should be Mahogn, Gany. You have it on your sheet.
Right now, I have it as Maha as in apple, Go as in octopus, and I.
Mahogany.
That's what I got from Google.
That's what the Google says, huh?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's what it also has on Wikipedia.
Okay.
The common spelling, they use a Y when they just say mahogany for the common name, like you have it on the sheet.
Sure.
But the botanical name is with an I at the end of mahogany.
Right, but I think what Jared's saying too is that am I seeing this right, Jared? That the Wikipedia and the Google machine is telling you that it's Mahagoni. Is that correct?
Yeah. Wikipedia has Maha as in apple, Go as in octopus, and I.
okay, so I will tell you that the University of Florida EDIS publication has the scientific name as you're showing it and the common name as Mahogany. So the way that you have it on your slide, I believe is correct. I think the University of Florida publication would be kind of trump Google search.
It would, absolutely. UF wins at all times. Okay, so we're going to go with the EDIS spelling. And Susan, what was that again?
Oh gosh, I just closed it.
We'll go look. Well, I'm going to make a note. I love these things because we all get to learn something. Check EDIS spelling. You wouldn't think that mahogany, which is one of the more common things, would be so hard, but it's weird. All right. Well, thank you everybody for pointing that out. We'll get that squared away, and we will settle on an accepted spelling and make sure that that's disseminated to everyone. All right.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. Cordia sebastena, the orange Geiger tree. Interesting story about the Geiger tree. Audubon was down in the Keys and was painting some birds, and there was this tree in this guy Geiger's yard. And Geiger was a shipwreck guy. He would go out into the waters and he would salvage the wrecked ships and bring stuff in. He became very rich and he had a lot of land. The Audubon house in Key West now is this guy Geiger's, I think, old house or his old property. But that's where the name comes from, is Captain Geiger. And this tree was on his land. It was interesting. I learned that last year. It's a little weird, I know, but I don't know. That just stuck with me. I thought it was a cool story. All right, Lignum vitae, super slow grower, super dense wood. Lignum vitae and Lignum vitae. Shouldn't have any trouble spelling the common and scientific name on this one. Don't always see them flowering, but they generally look like this picture on the left. Kind of not particularly showy. there's a nice one at the Hurricane House, and we will be seeing that come July. All right, Codocarpus erectus variety ceraceus, or the silver buttonwood. Great, I think, great tree, great native tree. These pictures, it's very spreading in this sense. It's a good understory tree. They tend to have a multi-trunk habit or maybe a spreading habit as opposed to something you'd want to structurally prune into a more central leadery type thing. Made to be spreading. Maybe not the strongest tree in the sense of storms. They can go down. Rooting isn't so great, but boy, are they showy. Really, nothing else like it. It's very distinctive. You cannot miss this plant. And my favorite, Bursera cimaruba, gumbo limbo. When I was a kid, we'd go to the Everglades and just loved peeling the bark on gumbo limbos. It's fascinating. I don't know why some gumbo limbo today don't have the super peely, kind of shimmery, shiny look to them. But I don't know if it's an age thing, but I still love them. Really, really, really neat trees. Great native tree. Do not plant one in a finger island though, because they will get giant and big. And as Mike Orphanese will tell you, the circling and girdling roots on these things will kill them and rot their base, and then they will fall on your car, and it's not fun. But otherwise, a pretty tree. Bursera cimaruba. Tamarindus indica, or the Indian tamarind. Again, still not the most distinct thing, but I think when you get up in them, you can kind of tell them from other things. There's a rounded leaflet here on the plant. Their trunks are kind of distinctive. Again, when we're on the campus, there's a few. We'll take a look at them, and we'll be able to. Oh, we're not going to be able to do. Shoot, sorry. I was just saying that, and then I realized we're not going to have a field review, which is why we're doing this. So, shoot. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you about that. Ah, here we go. I knew this was coming. Ficus microcarpa, Green Island, or Green Island ficus. Maybe the best cultivated plants of the last 20 years. It's nearly indestructible. Not everybody loves it. Some people think it's invasive. I've never seen it invade anything. Somehow, ligustrums are allegedly invasive. And again, I don't believe that for a second. But great landscape plant, super duper hardy. Again, very distinctive leaf, dark green, glossy leaf, hardy plant. Tychosperma elegans, or the Alexander palm. This is a tough one to remember. This is not the easiest spelling with your silent P's, and it's a tricky one, but not terribly difficult. We've got a couple of these we'll be seeing too on campus. Cocos nucifera, or the coconut palm, and I apologize that I don't know why one picture is over in the wrong spot, but no, that's better. Coconut palm. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what a coconut palm is, and fairly easy name to remember. Capparis cynophalophora, Jamaican caper. Not a very common tree. It would be great if we could use more of these in South Florida, but they're not the most commonly used. But great tree, very great native tree. The name is a mouthful. And if I'm being honest and giving you a little bit of a cheat, this will absolutely be a tree that we look at. Just FYI. Mercianthes fragrans, Simpson stopper. Not a great picture, but as it happens, there's some really great Simpson stoppers at the property, and we may well see one. Really pretty trees that well pruned over at the campus. Again, it's a mouthful on the scientific name for what is a relatively easy common name. Mercianthes fragrans. And one of my favorite things, the Thrinax radiata, Florida thatch palm. Again, really distinctive look. Very, very slow grower, but great native palm. Really cool tree. Florida thatch palm. Thrinax radiata. That's a, hopefully it's a pretty simple one to remember. I may not even put this one right. I said there's Barreria succulenta, or the Bahama strongbark. Again, kind of like Jamaican caper. You don't really see them used that frequently, but it's probably a really great native tree. It'd be awesome if more people used it. There's some great examples again at the Hurricane House. If I'm giving anybody any secrets, this will very likely be a tree that we look at. Very common plant here, the Chrysobalanus acaco, red tip or red tip cocoa plum. Super commonly used native, I think they're native. I don't think they're adapted. Bush or hedge. These can get very tall. We were talking to somebody today about how eventually these want to be a tree and 12 feet tall. If you let them, they'll get there. But generally speaking, kept as a hedge. Very healthy, pretty hardy once established. A little bit of a pain in the butt to get established. They like a lot of water, but once they're in, they're pretty good. And here we go. Serenoa repens, saw palmetto. You see these a lot in the scrub and in the Everglades if you're driving across Shark Valley, or rather Alligator Alley. In the pinelands there, all throughout there, you'll see the saw palmetto. Lysoloma laticilicum. And last time there was some debate about how many U's there should be in quum, but we think we've nailed that down. And if there is any debates, we'll go check the EDIS site. But Lysoloma laticilicum, wild tamarind, again, very distinctive look from the Indian tamarind. You can kind of tell it's similar leaflet structure, but the little powder poofy things flowering, and they're very distinctive, and this one's pretty easy to identify. And that is our 30 trees, everybody. Don't know if anybody's got any questions or comments. I see Mike has unmuted himself.
Yeah, so all of these plants are on the IFAS campus, and you know, I guess if folks wanted to come by to study them on their own, they're not labeled at this point in time, but they're all there. And I just want to say that the campus is open pretty much 8 to 5, even a little bit later. I don't think they close the gates till after dark. Monday through Saturday. It's closed on Sunday.
Mike, there was a question earlier from somebody asking if we do know for sure that the campus will be open by July. Have you gotten any word on that?
Well, it's open now. I mean, you know.
So, I mean, structures. Are you allowed to go to the buildings and do things?
I don't think anyone's, I mean, I was there today and nobody's, you know, there's no checkpoint. You just drive right in.
Okay.
They're not having any face-to-face classes, but people are working, and I'll be back to work there full-time starting Monday.
Oh, awesome.
So if somebody wants to coordinate, you know, they can just get a hold of me.
I was going to say too, I mean, I think this is a great primer. It would not be crazy, and I know Jared, as someone who has previously done that walk, it might be a bit tough for Susan, who's not in town. But for anybody who's kind of local, I'd be willing to do like a pre-walk through the campus with the test like we've done in the past to review the trees.
Let me double check and make sure that, you know, a group kind of event like that would be allowed. You know, I mean, if somebody went in there on their own, nobody's going to flag them down. But I suppose if there was a group, you know, walking around discussing things that would call it, you know, attention to itself. But I will try to get some clarification on that tomorrow. And but like I said, it is open, and most of these plants between the extension office and the UF Fort Research Education Center grounds there all the way back to the Hurricane House. And really around the Hurricane House in particular are a lot of these plants.
Yes, absolutely. And so as we get closer, this is the first of 4 sessions. We have 3 more to do. And, but perhaps the week of the exam, I could make myself available to take that tour with anybody who's interested in doing it. I've found that it's a very effective way to do that. Maybe something's lost when you're just looking at slides or reading it on a piece of paper, or even searching the internet for pictures. It's not always the same. Real life maybe triggers something, or you see something that just enables you to kind of remember what that might be, if it's a thing that you're not comfortable with or you're not confident with. So we can talk about that. Yes, sir.
I want to make one other suggestion. It seems historically that people have had trouble with the Latin names in terms of the spelling.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're responsible for 30, I believe. And, when we've done this class, usually a week before the exam, I've always told folks, so, divvy it up, put 5 down, do 5 a day. Make some little index cards, put the common name on one side, the scientific name on the back, the other side. And, just commit to yourself 5 plants per day, and, you'll have it done before the week is out. And just review them every day and add 5 more. Second day you do 10. Third day you're going to be doing 15, and so forth. And practice them throughout the day. Practice them before you go to bed.
By a show of hands, and you can use your reaction button or you can chime in. Would everybody like to get, Susan had mentioned it, would you like to get a copy of just the straight PowerPoint with just the pictures and the plant names, both scientific and common? Would everybody like that to be sent off to them? Oh, I see Peter's up for that. And so, okay. I mean, I can send it to everybody. It's very easy. I just think that might be one more way we can help give everybody the tools that they might need. And again, I would be available to, I could make myself available to do that walk. It's about an hour if anybody's willing to do that. In the July sun, I'm not, but I'll do it for you guys because I like it. All right, great. Well, I think that's kind of all for now. Oh, Diana's in for the walk. Great. Jared's in. Laptop died, so Pete's has his mic or camera. That's okay. No biggie. I hope you can hear me. But thank you all for joining us tonight. It's been really, again, this is the first time we've done this, so forgive some of our technical difficulties. Hopefully we'll get better at refining that. But it's really exciting to see so many people who are interested in continuing their professional accreditations, and we're really happy to help provide that. So anything I can do, anything Mike can do, anything Henry can do, we're part of the committee, the certification committee. There's some other members of the certification committee, but really any LIAF board member, both Miami-Dade or Broward, everybody's committed to really helping bring more folks into the fold and continue helping our professional members expand their experience and their professionalism. So with that, I will conclude this evening's events, unless there's any other questions.
I have one question.
Sure, Al.
Toward Michael regarding the, if I can jump ahead to the grades and standards.
Go ahead.
So when we do the test, we're going to get a sheet that's going to have the copy of the step-by-step